Embarking on the CDT, a journey of unbeatable sunrises and revelations. This morning, I woke up before dawn, setting my alarms quite early. No way was I going to miss the early hours at my odd roadside campsite. While I might have been hidden under the cover of darkness, the moment the sun broke the horizon, I knew visibility was inevitable. So I was determined to pack up and leave by 6 a.m., to avoid the spectacle of appearing to disassemble my camp in broad daylight, which could make me look a bit eccentric. As I hit the road again, the early morning light cast a warm glow, painting the sky beautifully with soft hues as the sun rose over the expansive farmland ahead. The sight was truly breathtaking, making this stretch of road more than just a simple walk. Though I was uncertain about how much I would be camping along this path, I felt completely at ease choosing to sleep in towns if it fit my mileage, especially on these segments that were just 4 or 5 days long. It's often safer and more convenient than pitching a tent near town while traveling solo. Nonetheless, last night turned out to be a successful choice in retrospect. The beauty of the sunrise made for a spectacular backdrop as I resumed my journey. With an approximate distance of just 4 to 5 miles standing between me and the small town of Harrison, I anticipated what I might find there. It didn't seem to boast much, but I spotted a diner, which held the promise of breakfast. Approaching the town, I had a light bulb moment. Why not call ahead for my meal? This brilliant idea would save me the trouble of waiting around for my order to be ready, something I rarely thought of doing. I ordered a mouth-watering sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich along with some hash browns, then set off toward the diner with hunger guiding my steps. Stunning landscapes and delightful breakfasts await on the trek. Upon arrival at the diner, I was greeted with the charming ambiance and friendly service. The inviting aroma of freshly baked cinnamon rolls wafted through the air, and in a delightful twist of fate, there was a tray of those very rolls sitting temptingly on the counter. Naturally, I couldn't resist grabbing one along with a hot cup of coffee. However, I have to admit that increasing my caffeine intake has come with a downside. I'm now starting to feel a bit sluggish in the mornings, without my usual dose of stimulation. Everything was prepared efficiently, allowing me to enjoy my hash browns and cinnamon roll right in town and properly dispose of the containers. I carried my sandwich along and delighted in sipping my coffee as I walked, a minimalist treat that added to the joy of my morning. That early breakfast gave my day a great kickstart, and as I continued my hike, the miles seemed to fly by. On my route, I also looked forward to passing through at least one more small town during the day, possibly 2 before reaching Ennis. Having the opportunity to stop into a store, even if I didn't require anything, was one of the perks of road walking. However, not every road stretch offers these fun little features. Indulgence is key on this journey. This cinnamon roll was pure bliss. After just a couple of hours of walking, I arrived in the town of Norris. Although small, it hosted a Sinclair gas station where I could take a refreshing break. Inside, I grabbed a drink and treated myself to 2 ice creams, a coconut popsicle, and a chocolate-covered cone that were both delicious. I enjoyed the popsicle on the road and continued on, grateful for the chance to use the restroom inside the gas station. Crossing the historic Bozeman Trail was a cool experience. One of the more challenging aspects of road walking, aside from elusive water sources, is the often awkward situation of finding a restroom. With few barriers to offer privacy, it's easier for guys, but for us ladies, it can create some complications. Many stretches of rural roads leave you exposed, so I often have to wait for traffic to thin out before I can find a discreet spot. A sudden vehicle can leave you scrambling back into sight, and while it's a natural part of life, I can't help but think that drivers would prefer to overlook that moment. Feeling revitalized after leaving the gas station, I strolled along the road. I noticed some kids across the street from the station waving their arms, eager for cars and trucks to honk. It's a classic roadside game that never fails to bring a smile. I waved back and struck up a conversation with their father, who, along with another man, was curious about my adventure. Our chat was brief but pleasant, and just a mile or two later, One of them caught up with me to ask further questions. Arriving in Ennis was a highlight, especially after yesterday's lengthy trek. This person was very kind and expressively interested in my journey, inviting me to visit their campsite later in Ennis to share stories. While it sounded delightful, the thought of being potentially drained after my long weeks on the trail made me hesitate. I feel strong and capable, and I'm focusing on sustainability right now, needing to be wise about conserving my energy. As appealing as socializing can be, right now I must prioritize rest to maintain my momentum. After leaving Norris, the rest of the day lacked exciting stops. The trail took me past another small town that had no gas station or facilities, but that was perfectly fine since I was nearing Ennis. I planned to reach it before 5 p.m. Such a blessing. One of the beauties of being ahead with my editing workload is that I can finally take some time to relax, a luxury that has been scarce during my stops this year. The heat was relentless for the rest of my trek, an ongoing theme for the days that had preceded it. I kept pushing onward, staying as hydrated as possible. Thankfully, I had enough liquids to make the journey bearable. As the day wore on, I focused on accomplishing as much as I could to help pass the time. I rolled into Ennis around 4:30 p.m. Unsurprisingly, I still continued on for about another mile to get into the town's core. It was amusing to note that so much around here had a Madison name, likely due to the numerous rivers and valleys in the vicinity. It brought a smile to my face to see my name reflected in the local grocery store signage. I made my way there before checking into the Sportsman Lodge, hoping to gather everything I might need for my stay so I wouldn't have to leave again. Ennis proved to be an ideal town, fully equipped to meet my needs and more. The Sportsman Lodge offered snug little cabins that were minimal yet outfitted with all the essentials, while being the most budget-friendly option in town. An added bonus, the attached restaurant nearby, meant I had the choice of enjoying a meal out without needing to venture far. At the grocery store, I stocked up on drinks and snacks, including microwavable goodies, a nectarine, a piece of cake, and more. I thought I'd likely not need to dine out that night, with the restaurant just next door being a perfect opportunity should my dining needs change. Once checked in, I happily retreated to my little log cabin. Even the grocery store shared my name. What a quirky coincidence. The cabin was cozy, and I was thrilled to arrive so early, although I was slightly disappointed to discover there was no laundry service offered. It has been almost 2 weeks since I last washed my clothes. After numerous showers, the days add up quickly. At least I could enjoy a luxurious shower in my room, taking time to recharge all the electronics that had drained during my editing sessions. Having been in and out of town so frequently, I found myself constantly monitoring battery life while trying to manage my workload efficiently. Once settled in, I started to enjoy the impressive haul from the grocery store. With the rest of my evening unfolding quietly, I engagingly worked on a few tasks, only to be thrilled by an unexpected surprise. The Wi-Fi at the motel in Ennis was the best I had experienced all year long. Uploading a full-length YouTube video took merely 5 to 10 minutes. This efficiency meant I could finally upload every video that had been pending, which was both unexpected and exhilarating. In previous towns, this task could take up to several hours to complete. What a welcome change that made my day. Thanks to this newfound speed, I managed to accomplish a variety of other tasks that day, all while exerting minimal energy. I enjoyed watching TV, snacking, and simply... The evening turned out wonderfully, and I even managed to get to bed at a reasonable hour. With plans to start my next day early, all I could think of was how grateful I was for this fulfilling day.